How have you applied your computer science education to help better understand relationships?
So the interesting thing is that a couple of years ago, the social network took off. At least the social network in terms of the online social network. But it's the first time you really heard, as a general term, this idea of social network. And, now we're all familiar with Facebook and Twitter, and they'll talk about the social graph. Well, the interesting thing in computer science is that graphs are a long-studied theoretical concept. And so how people connect with one another, how information passes through a network, what are the mathematical ways that you can understand graphs or networks, has been studied for the last several decades very, very powerfully. And so I think that's brought a real recognition of some of the tools that we can apply to understand networks. At the same time, that perspective very much emphasizes the structure of a network. And a lot of social sciences has made amazing progress using that metaphor. Social relationships can be viewed as a network or a graph. And that means not just understanding who knows whom, but also the pathways that connect people indirectly, the extent to which we have indirect ties that also connect us, so-called network transitivity or indirect ties. If we have third-party friends, that's how we often meet people. That's how you and I got to know one another. And so that's critically important. So there's been a lot of great research taking that structural perspective of networks and graphs. But what it also alerts you to is the extent that that's just a representation, that you're capturing some information there. And it's powerful information. I mean, there's so much that's being done today with Twitter and Facebook, and there's so much more that's going to be done with these sort of tools. But that we shouldn't oversimplify what our networks are, that it's important to understand the richness that social relationships actually have. So if we talk about our social network, to understand that it's not just understanding who are you connected to and what's the broader pattern, but what's the degree of trust there, how well do you understand each other, what are the communication patterns, what are the interaction patterns like, to understand how all that is just as important, if not more important, than the structure of the network itself.